So in example 4, we get to the algebra 1, which is sort of where we started at the beginning, when we tried to figure out, well, what machine would do both things together? How do we find that? Well, we plug in just the variable to find out what would happen. So in A here, okay, and again, we're looking at the words in this question. We're given f of x and g of x. We're finding an explicit equation. So that means in our equation, on the right-hand side, it's just going to have x. So we want an explicit equation for f of g of x. What's it equal to? Well, if you plugged an x into the function g, what comes out? Well, the function g, whatever you plug in gets doubled, and then you add 7. So you would get, instead of g of x, you could write 2x plus 7. Because whatever you plug into g gets doubled, and you add 7. Then it says, whatever you plug into x, can you see that it gets squared, gets multiplied by 2, and then you add 1. If you plugged in a 3, you would square the 3, multiply it by 2, add 1. If you plug in a 2x plus 7, that 2x plus 7 has to get squared. It has to get doubled, and then you have to add 1. And what I find really interesting for students is this seems to be a big jump. If I did f of 3, students have no problem writing, oh, I replaced the x with a 3, so it'll be 2 times 3 squared plus 1. No problem with that. But as soon as you replace it with algebra, it gets difficult. Once you realize that they're exactly the same idea, what did we do here when it was a 3? We replaced the x with a 3, right? Take out my highlighter. Oh, shoot, I shouldn't have hit the highlighter. I'm going to crash the program while trying to take out a highlighter. Oh. So, yeah. There we go. There we go. I want this to go away, but it's not going away. Right? There's my x. There's my x. So whatever I put in for x gets squared. You add 3. Well, now, what are you putting in? You're putting in 2x plus 7. The same rule happens. That 2x plus 7 is getting squared. Times by 2 plus 1. And once you realize that, your life is going to get easy. Because then these questions are exactly the same as all of the other questions. Sure, we have some algebra to do here, order of operations. We have to square first, so this will become 4x squared. 14 plus 28x plus 49. Then I'll double 8x squared plus 56x plus 98 plus 1. And finally, 8x squared plus 56x plus 99, if I wanted to simplify it. Okay? For these questions, then state the domain and range. The domain is usually what they would ask on an exam. So for the domain, what kind of function is this? It's a parabola. What's the domain of parabolas? Domain of parabolas is everything. In order to find the range, you would actually have to graph this. This isn't a nice one to graph. I believe that this question was probably looking for you to use your graphing calculator to graph. If we look at the answer, the range is bigger than or equal to 1. That's not easy to see from here. So figuring out how to graph this, not super easy. Okay, so for these ones, I'll just do the domain, because that would be what you had expected to do on your exam. Unless it was something that is easy to graph, then we'll do the domain. But 8x squared plus 56x, to complete the square for that one, it's possible, take some time, but we're not going to do it right now. Okay? So for part B, Part B is looking at g of f of x. So now f of x, whatever you put into f of x, was 2x squared plus 1. And now we need to put a 2x squared plus 1 into g of x. Now, a reminder, g of x was 2x plus 7. If we pull out our highlighter, and highlight those x's, maybe, then now what are we plugging in? We're plugging in a 2x squared plus 1. What does g do? Whatever. There it is. You plug in. Gets multiplied by 2, and then you add 7. If I simplify this one, I get 4x squared plus 8. This one, again, it's a parabola. Its domain is everything. This is in a form where you could do transformations. Can you see they have a vertical stretch by 4 and then shift it up 8 units? Oh, plus 9, yeah, because I forgot to distribute the 2. Thank you. So we got a vertical shift up 9 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's our parabola up there. And so it's fairly easy to see that the range of this one is y is bigger than or equal to 9. Everybody good? I can scroll up. Just going to erase this so that we can see the last one. The last one says find g of x. Well, g of x is 2x plus 7. And then plugging 2x plus 7 back into g, what does g do? Whatever you plug in gets multiplied by 2, and then you add 7. And so we'll get 4x plus 14 plus 7, 4x plus 21. This is a straight line. Domain is everything. Range is everything. Questions 10 and 11 for practice, or you can work on your review, your exam review.